Doody doody doo doo. Hey, it's the Telex show with Malt Muser, and this is going to be fun. I'm still moving things around, as you can tell. But anyway, we are going to take a look together. Finally, we have arranged some things to tackle the same bottle at the same time, which will be nice for once. And I'm just trying to make sure I've got everything in order here. Let me bring some things down to different monitors. It's a technological terror drone here at the Telex basement. Just putting things in order. And I'm glad that you guys have stopped by for another Tasty Tuesday with Telex. Hope everybody's having a good week. It's been a good week here, thankfully. No drama is good. And we'll be looking at the Arran 21. Arran is an islands distillery, not Isla, but islands. Even though it's islands, it's not like Highland Park or Talisker. So don't think that just because I'm talking about an islands distillery that they're all going to be this, similar. There's lots of differences among distilleries, even in Isla. Even though they're known for their peat, of course, and their smoke, there's some, really good non-peated whiskey coming out of Bunnahabhain and Kalila, etc. And just like with the islands, they're known for spices. They're real big on peppers, white pepper, black pepper, cinnamon, nutmeg, that kind of thing. But not every islands is like that. And Highland Park is a good kind of example. They're more known for their heathery peat and more florals and a good balance overall. But anyway, this one is going to be fun to take a look at with malt, and want to start welcoming some people. Hey, Juan, good to see you, man. I'll talk about how good or bad it is here in a little bit when malt joins the show. Hey, Daniel, good to see you as always. Hopefully you're doing well. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that again. I did a little talk about that in the short review, but we'll cover all the bases for you guys that hang out for the live discussion. Salanchava there, Ben. Too slow. I don't know if I know you. I'm not sure if I've seen you at the channel. You might already have been a regular at Malts. Either way, welcome. If you've been here before and just lurked, that's cool too. Hey, good to see you, Mr. French. Looks similar to the Altmore in the bottle. I guess it does sort of. I mean, this to me is kind of a one of a kind because it's got the real basic, the blue background with this. I'm not sure what type of font to call that. It's not military, but it's not I don't know what you would call that. But Altmore does have a. I mean, I guess the basicness of it is where you're coming from on the Altmore look. It is more of a basic look. Oh, Bourbon Bounty, good to meet you, man. We usually take a look at Scotch here, but bourbon is also talked about on the side, so welcome either way, and I think you'll have fun. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. Looking forward to this Arran tool review. Yeah, I'm really excited. Joining with the new Arran 18 Proper Sherry Bomb. Awesome choice, Peter, and I've heard that the 18 is just about as good as this one. So if you do like the 18 and you think it's a proper sherry bomb, I would definitely pick this one up. And I'll talk about pricing and things like that in a little bit. I was thinking about the shape of the bottle shape. Yeah, I see what you're saying. This is definitely like a more of a the big fat cork and more of a rounder bottle. I don't have my own Altmore bottle. I've actually have had samples of their stuff. The 18 is the one I really did enjoy. I need to get my own bottle of Altmore at some point, as for sure. The new labeling is much better than the old, and that's one thing that I'll definitely be getting into it with malt about on how different and how controversial this is. Actually, it's kind of weird. All of us who don't pretend to speak on Scotch. I'm the same way with bourbon, buddy. I'm from Louisville originally, Louisville, Kentucky. Grew up in Bardstown practically, and I mean, I've had my share of bourbon growing up, but I will definitely be the least, what's the word for it? Mastered in the whole bourbon experience. That's where I depend on malt for that. But for a Scotch, though, I'm your guy when it comes to that. So there we go. Anyway, let me click off this 1 second. Yeah, this one, I was kind of in my head when I was doing this, having a mental shootout basically with the Ben Ryack 21, which is the one I had a week or two ago recently. And I have to say, I do enjoy this one slightly more even than that one, because even though Rachel Berry did really a lot with doing 4 different casks with the red wine, the virgin oak, and the I think it was ex bourbon and another different type of either sherry or oak, whatever. It was a little bit still not all there, if that makes sense. This just being ex sherry casks, that's, there's no like hidden agenda. There's no crazy science behind it. It's just, basically better. As we'll talk with that. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
I hear you got a package recently.
I did, man. The Whiskey Fairy stopped by, left something on my porch. I opened it up, and what did I find? Among other things, the Arran 21, which I have resting in a glass in anticipation to drink with you, my friend. How are you?
Good. Isn't that a pretty color?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And don't you love the fact that it says all natural on the box?
Love it. Yeah, I'm interested to hear the rundown. I was chatting with some folks on my channel before this. We were talking a little bit about Arran, and folks were definitely interested. We had some folks had never had Arran before, some folks who've had a bunch of Arrans, and so this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you already told them, but Malt and I have been discussing ways that we can do more joint reviews at the same time and at least enjoy the same bottle, instead of trying to do different ones different times and have it more focused. So we definitely have a good plan going forward where you're going to see, not only are we going to be able to share the same type of bottle, we might even be able to get better bottles in the long run. So yeah, we'll still cover the bases. We'll still do like the core lineups and your 12-year-olds and even NASs, but we'll also be able to do some 23, 25-year-olds. I think it may be even better than that if we go with certain brands like Glenfarclas or something. Might be able to pull off a 30-year-old.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to go 30 because that 25 was, I don't know.
Yeah,
no, I was letting folks know, and like it's cool, and this is gonna be a lot of fun. We finally are able to get some samples. I got a box from you. I have a box I'm going to be sending to you relatively soon. And, maybe at the end of the show, we can give folks a preview of some of the things we're going to be tasting. But we've been wanting to do this for some time. And we just honestly, like, coronavirus and, the world is what it is. But, we're in a place now where we're, going to get some stuff in each other's hands, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, same here. This is the second request we've had for looking at that cloudy Glen Scotia. So if you have any left, you might have to.
Oh, I sure do, my friend. I sure do. As I just showed folks on my happy hour, you know what? I'm going to toss one of these into the box when I send it to you.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we'll definitely have to take a joint look if you want to.
I need a second opinion. I mean, you probably know most of the story so far as to how this has been an evolving thing every week on the channel, and so
I'm jealous of the whole discussion with Glen Scotia. By the way, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So. A second opinion on whether or not I'm just crazy or if this is like actually got something real weird going on in it will be definitely appreciated. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll throw some in. I'll throw some in the box. Like I said, I'm going to get that to you in a couple days, and maybe later in the show we'll share with everybody like what we have on the horizon in terms of the samples we've shared with each other. But yeah, with that, man. I'd love to hear the specs on this Arran. I like I said, I do got some resting in the glass. Really looking forward to getting into it, but. What can you tell us about the maturation, the age, all that good stuff? What's the word?
Yeah, thankfully this is their new 21. If people that are familiar with Arran know that they had a 21-year-old previous on the old line that was available, it was a 9,000 bottle run, which is they call it limited, but how limited really is it? That kind of thing. This one supposedly is also 9,000, but this is more of like joining their core lineup as a regular deal. I'm not sure why that is, but they did redo their entire marketing line, and I guess they've also changed their lineup as far as their core.
Yeah.
Like they have a 10, an 18, and 21. They also have a few NASs that they're starting to do, and I think it's because they're trying to do experimentation with cask maturation. Don't quote me on that, but that's my theory. There is a big uproar over their change. I tend to like this bottle. I mean, this
I do too. Yeah, man. I'm glad you brought this up. I think so. Let me just be clear. The only Arran I've ever had is the Macramore, which comes in a really nice tin and has a nice graphics. But the rest of their stuff looked kind of dated in their marketing. And when you see whiskeys like, the things that come to mind, Ball Blair, for example, which in my opinion was a step in the wrong direction. I really like the way this looks.
Yeah, and my thing is, do you want them to spend more money on what's inside the glass or outside the glass?
Real talk. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that, man. I'm totally with you on that.
It does have that nice big fat cork on the top. Someone told me that it reminded them of Altmore, and I don't own any Altmore bottles to compare it to, but it's probably like another fatty like this where it's more of a stout.
Yeah, no, the Altmore is very much like that. Yeah, that's a good point. I have a bottle of 12. I could grab it actually.
Okay.
Just for the point of comparison.
Yeah, just to see if it's got that same kind of ridgy, little short, fatty kind of a look to it.
Yep. Yeah, it does. And it's similar to kind of like the Balvenie look a little bit, but this is what the Altmore looks like.
Yeah.
You can tell it's got the thick top.
Same thick top. Yep.
On top. Yeah.
Yep. It's the same type of style. That's cool.
Yeah. And
I'm not sure. I'll have to look and see if I don't think they're owned by the same people, but let me just double check that just to make sure.
Altmore Distillery, Moray. Not sure. You might be able to find out some info on it, but
I just pulled up my cheat sheet basically, and Arran is owned by looks like Beams. I'm sorry, it's independently owned. Interesting. Okay. And Altmore is owned by Bacardi. Okay, so that makes sense.
There you go.
So yeah, Arran is more independent. I didn't know that. I thought they were probably one of these, Pernod Ricard or Bacardi or Beam Suntory or
right, exactly.
But they're independent, like a small guy, kind of like Kilhoman or one of those guys. Daft Mill's independent.
Yeah, definitely.
Glenallachie is an independent. There's a few of them out there, not many though.
Yeah. So what's the rundown on this one? I'd be curious to hear before we dive into it.
Yeah, this is going to be a 21-year-old. Of course, it's 46% ABV, nice. Which I'm cool with that. It's non-chill filtered, not colored, and it's just ex-sherry casks. I think you'll be in for a treat, but I do have one kind of thing that makes me nervous that I'm not sure if you're going to like or not. I'm not going to give it away yet. I just want to see your kind of your.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready to dive into it if you are, my friend.
Yeah, and this is Islands. It's not like a Highland Park or a Talisker per se. There's one thing that is kind of like a Talisker, but Islands are kind of a mishmash of different, tastes, just like the Lowlands. I mean, yes, they're triple distilled sometimes, like Auchentoshan, but sometimes Bladnochs will fool you, and they'll be like a sherry bomb. And just like with the Islands, certain ones will have heather, certain ones will have spice, certain ones will have maritime notes, but you won't find maritime seashell notes in here at all. It's interesting.
Right on. Well, I'm going to pop the top.
Yeah.
I've been resting for probably 30 minutes, so
perfect.
Ready to get into it. All right.
And I'm gonna let you do your thing, and I'll just come in after the fact with the notes that I got off of it after you're kind
Sounds
of go
good.
through the motions.
So right away on the nose, it is red fruits, tart red fruits. I want to say raspberry, plum. They're dark and they're bright. There's a slight cherry thing going on too. Yeah, the fruit notes are dominating the nose on this for sure. You can tell they're a bit on the dried side, which I think is obviously a testament to the age. Usually on the aged ones, you get the fruit notes kind of move towards a more dried note, and that's what I'm getting here.
Hopefully, you'll be able to dig out some like other things besides the fruit.
Yeah, I'm working on that as we speak. Beneath it, there's a little bit of an oak note. There's a little bit of a vanilla. I mean, it smells honestly like a bit of a cherry bomb. Well, I wouldn't say sherry bomb. I'm going to take that back. This reminds me a lot of, honestly, some of the Glenfarclas stuff. There's a little bit of that kind of bright, I don't know what that. Honestly, for the most part, my nose is dominated on the spot on the fruit notes on this one.
Like I'm with you. Like the first like three things I picked up were like an
The
apple.
other thing is cinnamon. There's like a dried cinnamon thing going on too. So there's a bit of that spice in the background, but it's very much classic sherry fruit forward. Maybe a hint of peat. I don't know. Like just a little bit of it in there.
It does have a little bit of a smokiness to it. It's not a peated Scotch per se, but there is something giving it that earthiness. It's got like an earthy character to it.
I can see what you're saying there. Yeah.
The only thing I got that was outside the fruit was like kind of a cereal grain kind of a note. It's real deep though, a dark chocolate, but I also got like a menthol, almost like a spearmint.
I'm not getting the chocolate. Well, I'm not getting the earth tone that you mentioned as much. Maybe a little bit of chocolate. The menthol. It's like it blurs with kind of just an alcohol bite.
Yeah.
Ethanol, but it's slight. Like I think that this actually, it seems pretty warm and well-rounded, and it's very much on the dark fruit note.
Can you get any like tobacco or toffee at all in the nose if you really dig deep? Might take another cover for a second.
Yeah.
There's like this like almost like teabag tobacco thing somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not picking it up quite yet. Maybe with water. I will admit that I've had a couple pours tonight, and so that could also be tainting it a little bit. But yeah, honestly,
the fruits are like in your face so much it's really hard to dig out the other stuff. Though.
The fruit is loud and proud. Behind it, I get a little bit of like it's a very slight baking spice profile. So you're getting like cinnamon, maybe a bit of clove, which is what you were thinking about with the smoke.
Yeah.
It's there, but man, it's like an accent. That smoke is like an accent.
Well, have a little sip and then come back to the nose and see if you get anything different on the nose after a little sip, maybe.
Oh,
yeah. Wow. Isn't that that's a nice power punch. Now, there's one thing I'm not sure if you're going to dig in this palette, but hopefully it's balanced enough where it doesn't.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It's the pepper.
Yeah, it does have a bit of a nice red chili, white pepper pouch coming in.
My first initial thought is like, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's a hot whiskey, which is actually a little surprising at 21 years and 46%. But nice mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Initially, like it comes in as like strawberry shortcake with some raspberries on top. A nice kind of sweet, creamy, fruity. Then the oak, like the cask really, I feel like comes in charge. You get the dried fruit, which again is 21 years old, makes sense. You're thinking like dry, like dark, like almost chocolate covered raisin. Then there's what I can only describe as like a sharp spice note, which again, I have a hard time differentiating between white pepper, black pepper. So I just say pepper. I'll just be real with you. The pepper note is there, but this is by no means offensive.
Okay, good. I was worried. I was like, man, when he hits his palate, he's going to be like, what the hell?
No, because it's rounded or off enough. It reminds me in a way, ironically, of the rye whiskey that I was sipping earlier tonight, which is the rye spice is there and it's carrying through, but like the overcoat of the barrel influence of like rounded, creamy bourbon cask in that case. In this case, it's like dried fruit, very dry fruit. Makes it work well. Finish seems medium to me. I get the tea note, which is that kind of like earthy umami mouthfeel thing on the finish. It hangs on pretty nice. Dark chocolate, maybe slight coffee, a little bit of caramel, and again the dried fruit. It's a drying finish, but then the dry fruit is there.
For me,
interesting. This is an interesting ride.
Yeah, for me on the palate, it's funny. I said the exact same thing. Medium mouth coat for me too. The palate fruit turned a little bit for me, which was in a good way because it was getting more complex. I was getting a lot of melon type of fruit, like mangoes and watermelon.
It's so funny you said that. I'm just getting that now. I was literally, those words were in my head when you just said that. I was like, there's like it's not pineapple because it's not that sharp kind of
acidic
citrus note. It is more like a whole umami not savory, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like a
rounded kind of experience.
A rounded tropical fruit. Mango is exactly right. That is exactly right. And it's there and it's working really well. The finish, which I initially would have said was like a medium finish, is actually medium long. Like that, it's like a chocolate covered mango. It's like milk chocolate covered mango, slight mintiness, very slight, and a little bit of maybe smoke. And again, way in the back, it's like an accent.
You got the same exact thing I did on that.
Oh, I did not watch your review
because I got like a little bit of cocoa beans, some red chilies that on the palate. Like you called it dry fruit, I called it like a leather kind of a feel to it.
I can see that.
A slight smoke, and at the very tail end, it's really hard to pick up. Maybe a little bit of a herb, like a basil kind of a note.
Interesting. Wow, man, that's you're.
It's weird.
When you say that, I think it. I agree with you that there's an herbalness to this. I pick it up now, but
it's really slight though.
I wouldn't have been able to describe it. I will say though that like there is a slight. Now that I'm like nosing it for the second time, there's a little bit more of a floral thing going on.
Yeah.
Like the nose of this reminds me of an Anach for 18 a bit.
Oh, okay. That's a good comparison then.
Yeah.
I haven't had the 18, but if it's like anything like this, I will jump all over the 18 really fast.
And now what you mentioned earlier, which was that kind of barley cereal note, I'm getting a bit more of that. I also want to say that there's a slight anise.
Yeah. Sometimes like for me, if I know something for a while, I'll go to the palate for just a second and then go back to the nose, and then I'm able to pull out a bunch more nose notes that way typically.
And here's the testament to the 21-year-old whiskey Telex is that like I've just went back to the nose after having a sip, and I will tell you this, like this is very different than those first nose notes I got because the fruit has stepped aside a bit. And now again, I'm getting a slight anise. There's more of a mushroom. Like mushroom. Wow.
Isn't that crazy? You're not the only one to get that mushroom note. I didn't get it myself, but I did look at a couple of reviews like after the fact, and someone else got like a mushroom truffle kind of a note to it. I wasn't able to get it, but
oh wow. Even on the second sip, The spice on that really still flares up the nostrils.
Yeah. It's not for a beginner. That's for like I wouldn't like the spice kick is I wouldn't call it a spice bomb per se, but
Yeah.
it's definitely like heavy on the fruit and heavy on the spice. It seems
Yeah.
like I agreed with you on the finish. I thought medium to long, and for me it was the cedarwood, and plums came in for the finish for me. I didn't get it on the nose like you were able to get, but I got it on the finish, which was kind of weird.
Cedarwood is interesting.
With apricots, a huge amount of apricots with a little bit of oak, but yeah, the finish seemed like it was pretty good. But
yeah,
the cool thing about this whiskey is wait till you put a couple drops of water, dude. It's going to completely
I'm
change
excited
it.
to do that right now. I'm about to do it. It's interesting you say apricot. So like my palate development, I still tend to associate apricot with orange, and so I don't quite. Like I get the like vague dry fruit note, but when I think dry fruit, it's more like dry figs or raisins. So I don't always get the apricot, which is like a note, but I totally get it now. Like it's there. I still, my mind still associates it with orange a little bit, which is just what makes this so damn fun.
What might help a little bit, if you can think of it this way, is I didn't say marzipan, but there's a little bit of marzipan, maybe like a hazelnut kind of thing going on with this too. If you think of that with the orange, it kind of equals an apricot.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
So it all depends, I think, on how you are like even though we might say different notes, I think if you split some of ours and combine some of ours together, we get the same notes. Like you would say dry fruit, I would say apples and pears with some leather. It's kind of, just depends on how you explain what you're getting, kind of thing. But apricots are weird. I'm not even a huge apricot fan,
nor am I.
like fruit wise. But if I get it in like a whiskey note, I actually enjoy it because it's with so many other things. Kind of the same thing with grapefruit. I hate grapefruits, but if I get certain grapefruits with it, then I might, with it balanced, then I might go for a grapefruit note on a whiskey kind of thing, and not.
So with the addition of water, this has changed significantly.
Isn't that cool as hell?
What's really surprising me about this is how different this is compared to that first nosing, which literally all I got was like sherry notes.
It definitely pays to go for a little taste and come back. I'm telling you.
Here's what I've got. Yeah, this is where it's going now. We got a bit more earthiness. The mushroom thing is there. The the juicy red fruit thing is happening, but it's on the periphery now. There's a bit more herbaceousness. This is a complex whiskey. This one it buries the lead on you. Holy shit!
Yeah, for the nose one,
that like sweet barley note now. Again, you know what? Profile wise, this reminds me a lot of is Enoch.
I can see that because that 24 is damn good, and it's definitely up there with the
oh god
power. Isn't that insane on the palate after just a drop or two of water?
The pepper note tones down so much, and you just get again like dried fruit. The dark chocolate now, it's went from like a just miscellaneous milk chocolatey thing to a dark chocolate.
I'm surprised that for me the water actually intensified the Thai chili spice for me for some reason. I don't know why, but
stepped back on me. Yeah, it's like I'm not getting it as much. It's much more of like a assertive, like there's dark chocolate, slight coffee bean, white. It's like coffee. You never had coffee beans that you eat that are chocolate covered? It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like the candy coating. I'm telling you, the fruit notes have stepped back significantly. The dark red fruits have stepped back significantly. Now I'm again getting that mushroom kind of earthiness on the finish, slight vanilla, slight again dark chocolate, and then what I would describe as like a dry orange, but it's more apricot, which I think is probably the closer to what it is, hanging on really tight.
With the nose after the water, I got kind of like say again?
A little bit ashy too.
Yeah. After the water with the nose, I got some pencil shavings, and I agree completely that the the red fruits turned more into like a white grapes with florals and straw and hay, and
Yeah.
to me, I got a little more earthy floral on the nose. And for me though, the palate was weird because it turned into like a white peppery, Thai chili, cinnamon, caramely.
Yeah, the cinnamon's definitely hanging through this, like no doubt, and the clove.
Mm.
Um,
And for me, the finish was even longer after the water.
It is, yeah, no doubt. This is a really interesting whiskey, man. Thank you so much for sending me the sample. I honestly, after the first sip, in the back of my head, I was like, like this doesn't drink like a 21. It's like almost too aggressive for what a normal, like a 21 whiskey that I usually would associate a 21 whiskey with. Like I'm thinking about the Highland Park 21 I had a couple weeks ago. I'm like, this is much more aggressive, but the complexity and like the ride that you're going on with this is really just a lot of fun. Let
me ask you a question. Before you, with the water, did the finish change the mouth coat for you at all? Give me go for another sip if you just to test.
Yeah, I'll do one more sip.
Because to me, it actually got heavier and waxier with the addition, just a drop or two of water. To me, it actually got heavier and more waxy, and it added a little bit of ginger and leather, but no bitterness to it.
This definitely, again, like when I think of profile comparisons, it reminds me of Enoch. It's heavy.
Yeah,
it's got a heavy body. The finish again is like, again, you're getting more sharp spices. I get a clove, like it's like clove smoke wrapped around it.
Did it coat your mouth any
cinnamon,
different?
Yes. Cinnamon, yes. Ginger, a little bit, yes. It's still just like hanging on.
Does it coat different? Does it feel more waxy at all, or is it less waxy?
It's hanging on. The finish is hanging on longer with the water, which is probably something to do with how much it's honestly like the other notes have come out, which just hang on longer in my mouth for some reason.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I got a longer finish with the water.
That mushroom, that slight like earthy mushroom. It smells like this. It tastes like the smell of fresh mushrooms.
And the weird thing is, this is exactly what I got off that Bruichladdich Black Arts 4.1 that I never could really explain to people. Like, it's got that nice earthy mushroom gravy almost aspect to it, but I can't explain that to anybody else.
Yeah,
but you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of funny.
It's savory. It's slight sour.
I love the balance and the complexity of this dram.
Yeah, this is interesting for sure.
How much would you pay for something like this before I tell you what I spent on it?
I probably have a sense of what you paid. I mean, like a 21-year-old whiskey of this complex. So I would frame it like this. Like this is any 21-year-old whiskey you're going to invest in is, first of all, an investment. Secondly, like you're going to expect a lot of like subtle complexity that's going to take a lot of time to explore, which is what you want in an older whiskey. And so for me, in the price ranges that we live in nowadays, I mean, I think this is a $150 bottle.
I think you're right on, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a $150 bottle. And I don't know what your score was because I didn't watch your review. But if I was going to score this, the things I would take into context are like other 21-year-olds at this range, which I can't imagine there are many. The level of complexity in this, I mean, this changed so much from the first to second pour. I mean, this is like a 3.75 to 4 out of 5 for me. And that's with cost. With cost, I would say this is like probably a 4 out of 5, which is that I would recommend folks get a bottle. Without cost associated, yeah, I think I'd still hang around that 3.75 range.
That's cool. I don't disagree at all. I was lucky. I got it for $120, believe it or not, which is a really good deal.
I mean, come on.
I mean, that's a no-brainer for $120. I'd jump in on all day for $120. But if you can find it for $150 and under, I would go all crazy for it. I have seen this as high as 230 to 240, and that's where I would draw my top limit at 175. I wouldn't go a penny over 175 for it. I think it's good, but that's just like the top of the litter, I think, on that one. But I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I really like this one.
Yeah.
Because the thing that boosted my score up, even though I don't do the value thing, is the craft. I really appreciated they got the age statement. They got the non-colored, non-chill filtered. They've got a good 46%. 48 would have gave them like a 4.75. But
I can see that.
This goes to show it doesn't have to be a cast strength whiskey to knock your socks off and be absolutely outstanding. That's another reason why I thought.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I'm with you. I feel this is a solid 4. I could see going 4.25, honestly, if I have like 3 or 4 more sips of it.
Yeah, as I say, I wish I could give you like a little bit more right here.
It's been such a ride. I mean, I'll be honest. I think this might be better than the Highland Park 21 that I just had.
Oh, wow. I know it's better than the Benriach 21 because Benriach 21
that's true.
It was good. It was almost like a 4-ish. I think I gave it a 4 or so. But with all the stuff she did, Rachel Berry, did 4 different cask maturations with the virgin oak and the ex-red wine casks and the ex-bourbon and the ex-sherry and all that. And it goes to show if you just get some really good, not overused sherry casks they might be ex-sherry, but they're not like, overly used. You can get whiskey like this, and this is what you really want,
Yeah, I've poured out the rest of the sample. It's amazing. I just poured the sample. I'm probably a foot away from this glass. And immediately, again, it's the like creamy strawberry red fruit thing. It's just blowing up off this glass. Wow.
Not a bad sample for the first one, huh? Not a bad sample for the first one I send. Wait till you open it. Wait till you open up that one that we're gonna do together. It starts with an A.
And ends with a Nova?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, and like I don't want to spoil it, but maybe this is a good time to share. So
sure.
Yeah, I'll give folks a little preview of like what we have lined up here.
That's a good idea because I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so over the next 2 months, we're going to continue this kind of tasting everything together. I'm not sure what's going to be the next one we do exactly, but I can tell you probably I'll just tell you this.
I'm going to let Malt pick the one he wants to do next week, actually, because I picked this one. You can pick next week, and I don't mind of the 3 that I sent. You can pick whatever of the 3 you want to do.
So this is what Telex has sent me, the Arran 21, which we're very much enjoying right now.
Oh, it's great.
The Elisa Bay 1.2 Sweet Smoke, Ardbeg Blazda, and an Ardbeg Supernova 2008.
The stellar release, the first one.
Yeah.
That's unheard of, man.
The funnest part is it slightly leaked on the way here. Not much that it was barely any. But what happened is
give me a heart attack.
When I opened it, it's barely any. But when I opened it, I immediately could when I touched it, I could smell the Supernova, and I was like, oh my God. I am so into this. So I'm super excited about that. The whiskeys that I've sent Telex are as follows. The Ball Blair 25-year-old, which is the 1990 second release.
I can't wait.
12-year-old single barrel.
I can't wait.
Lafroig 12 single cask Highgrove.
That's going to be interesting.
Highgrove release, yeah. And the Port Charlotte MRC01.
Oh man, I can't wait for all of them, man. It's going to be a must-see lineup.
This is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to send him the Glen Scotia hand-filled 10-year-old single cask.
I'll throw in something on the side for next time to make it even.
All good.
I'll surprise you with something.
Yeah, and so like we were saying earlier, like our plan is to kind of continue doing these joint tastings. I think we'll learn a lot from each other. I think it'll be a lot of fun for y'all who are interested in any of the whiskeys we're talking about to, hear us do this live. And, this is going to be a lot of fun. We've been wanting to do this for a while. So eventually we'll do something in person once we're.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Once the fear of coronavirus has went away. But this is going to be a great learning experience. Like, the best part about whiskey is the journey. And we get to hang out with y'all. We get to enjoy the journey with you guys. You guys tell us stuff. I mean, I was saying on my live channel, on my happy hour Telex, I learned more about whiskey from them than I learned on my own. Like the folks who spend time with us and share their 2 cents. Like, it's so much fun. And so, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna keep this going and keep doing these tastings. So it'll be great.
Is this your first Arran, or have you had Arrans before? I don't know if you ever talked about that or not.
Great question. So I have had an Arran before, which was the Mocker Moore, which is repeated. So light years away from this.
What was it? The Mocker Moore that you had, was it a NAS, or did it have a year statement on it, or do you remember?
Oh God, this is delicious.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I really enjoyed this. Wow.
I think you're going to end up bumping it up to 4.25 before long.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be real with you. Like, I like to, insider info. When I do my reviews, you can tell how much time I spent with it before I was ready to review by the fill level of the bottle. Because sometimes I open them and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I think about this whiskey. I'm not I'm not a sommelier. Like, I literally, I need to spend some time with it in a lot of cases. And so you can always tell, like, is this a whiskey that I knew immediately was amazing, or if I had to work on it by the fill level? That said, I think this one,
I'll agree. The first time I tried it, I was like, it's good, but how good is it on the neck pour? And once I got past the neck pour, I was like, yeah, this is the shit.
No, this is really good. This is a really impressive dram.
Was it the Arran Markham-Moore, the regular 46% no age statement one? Was it that one? Or was it a different one?
Let me look back. On my whiskey review videos, I keep a little bit.ly link, which has all of my reviews on it with the scores. Let me just take a quick look here.
It looks like the Mocker-Moores are peated, but they are like editions. They don't really have
that's correct. That's correct. They do it in editions. The Mocker-Moore that I did, which I gave a 2.5 out of 5, which isn't crazy generous.
Well, it is a peated Arran, though, so I'm not surprised, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was very peated, but it wasn't smoky at all. And it tasted like a Kalila that I paid too much for.
Gotcha.
It was like the 5th edition, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, they're up to I think they're around 8 editions now. It's insane how many editions they've got of that stuff. But
I like it. And let me just tell you one other thing, Telex, while we're here talking about Arran and peat. Currently on the way to my house is a bottle of the Arran quarter cask, 50.2%.
Wow.
So in the next swap we do, I will probably be bottling one of those up for you.
Nice. Oh, it's the new. Is it the new Arran quarter cast, the Bothy?
Used to be called the Bothy. Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that, and I'll definitely be sharing a sample with you, and we can talk about tasting that. But yeah, I'll be honest, man. Final thoughts. I'm really enjoying this Arran 21. This is a challenging whiskey in that I'm getting a lot. It's just changing so much in the glass, which is a great thing because it's a 21-year-old and you should expect that. I also want to give kudos to the rundown you shared, that fact that it's 46%, non-chill, natural. These are all great things, especially the non-chill. Really good whiskey. It's definitely not what I would say is if you're just getting into Scotch, go out and buy this as your first 21-year-old. I wouldn't suggest that because I think it's You might
It
not.
is aggressive, yeah.
It's a bit aggressive, and it's like it's honestly just very complex. But something to keep on the radar screen for the future. Yeah, I really enjoy this, man. Thank you.
Even though it's only 46% and not like a cast strength whiskey, this is one I think Stephen Connor would actually still enjoy a lot because it is so, complex.
Yeah,
Stephen Connor is one of the guys that watches that has a really nice plethora of crazy old school 30, 35-year-old cast strength whiskey.
Yeah,
and he's very picky. But even with that said, I think even this being 46%, since it is aggressive, I think he'd appreciate the intensity of the taste of this one. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect for his, like, he has a more developed palate than I do. I'll just be completely frank about that. I'm not at the same place in my journey as he is. And like, he shares and sips on whiskeys that like I learn a lot from him every time I hear him talk about it, because he just has so many great Glendronics. My God, his Glendronic collection is incredible. And yeah, I mean, like, I think about, people like him, I mean, even like, let's be like real, like people like Ralphie, like what would impress him, as a benchmark. And
that's a good point.
Yeah, this is one of those whiskeys that I think would be great to hear the review of someone like him, because I think that they, their palates are where they are. I mean, I think your palate's probably a bit more developed than mine is, for that matter. But I think that, like, this has got a lot of complexity. It's delicious. I'm really impressed with it. I think it's really challenging, but it's one of those whiskeys that, I would recommend to somebody if they're at that point where they're looking for something that's going to kind of push the. You want to know something, man? I keep saying this. This whiskey has some striking similarities to the Anach 18, or to some extent the Anach 24. I think more the 18, the effervescence, the like sharpness, the earth tones. It has a little bit in that Anach range.
The cool thing is this one is like one of the very first reviews of the new 21. I looked and I found a few, even in German, of the old 21, but I could not find a new review of the new 21. Anybody. It was crazy. I know Ralphie had an old 21 and an old 18, and I saw a German reviewer that had the old 21, but I couldn't find any reviews on the 21 at all. I couldn't believe it.
Sure, yeah.
So there you go.
And it's funny you mentioned this, Telex, because when we were chatting, I was periodically bringing up the fact that we were going to do this Arran tonight on the Happy Hour show on my channel, and folks were saying, like, Arran is not a whiskey that you find when you walk into the shop. And I was saying, like, I don't think I've ever seen an Arran at any liquor store. I mean,
oh really?
Sans like a very like boutique place. Most of the Arran stuff I found, it's been online.
Yeah,
I've never seen an Arran just like, oh, here's the Arran. And we were talking about how the fact that like they have so many different whiskeys with different finishes. Like, not as much as like Deanston or Tomatin or something, but like they have a lot of different whiskeys out there. And it's just not a distillery that I personally find like readily available to most folks. And so it's one of those whiskeys that like you look online, you find it a lot. Also, I got the Mocker more.
In some areas, luckily here in Maryland, Arran's all over the place. You can find it actually at most whiskey shops, really? Surprisingly. They're usually the I'm not sure about the new ones, but I know you can find like the old stuff, like the old 16. Someone just talked about the Arran 14 was Aquavita's whiskey of the year for last year. You might, if you do ever find that, I would definitely pick it up because I don't think they make it anymore. I think that was their old line. So if you do find an old 14, I would get it. If you find an old 16, I would skip it because I had the old 16. It was not all that great. But this new one, if any of the other new ones were like this, I think we're in for a treat. I'm actually kind of keen to try the 18 and the hell, even the 10 if we could find it.
Yeah, for sure.
But that is strange. Like in Maryland, we do have a lot of Arran that you can find in not just specialty stores, but a lot of the walk-in, mom and pop kind of liquor stores. But I haven't. I think it's because Maryland has the isn't state sanctioned like Pennsylvania and Virginia.
Sure.
Pennsylvania and Virginia are really tough to get variety. So if you are in this tri-state area, Delaware slash Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland area, go to Maryland because we have a lot to offer. Every county has a different rule in Maryland on what they can sell too. So that makes it even more complicated.
There's no shortage of complication with that stuff. I'm gonna step away for just a moment. I will be right back, and I'm gonna get a little bit more water, and we'll keep going.
Sounds good to me, man. Yeah, it's. I think I would definitely pick this up. If you could find this for 120, I would jump all over it, guys. That's no joke. For sure. Even up to 150, 160. If it's over 170, 175, I probably would try to find a better deal if you can. They are out there, I'm telling you. Even I think if you're in England from the distillery, they even sell it for a reasonable price direct. So there you go on that one. Yeah, 120, Daniel, is how much this is how much I paid for mine. It was 95 pounds basically. If you can find it for 95 to 100 pounds, I would jump all over it with a heartbeat. Yes, it's a great price for any 21, especially this one. Now, the Ben Reich 21 was reasonably priced as well, and it's a decent whiskey. But this one is a step above, I think. Between a shootout of the Ben Reich 21 and the Arran 21, the Arran 21 wins, but hands down, no questions asked. It's enough for me to maybe go back and if I gave the Ben Reich 21 a 4, which I think I did, I might even lessen it to a 3.75 just for the sake of the power of the fruit spiciness with this one compared to that one. But that one has a lot of nice refinement to it, so maybe I should keep it at the 4. And this is definitely a 4.5 out of 5 all day long, I think. We'll see if once this gets around more and we'll see more reviews, we'll see what others are thinking. But let me get Malt back in here. The smoke has risen. Yeah, I was telling them how great of a deal I think 120 is for this whiskey. I definitely can't pass that up.
I mean, but you didn't find this stateside, did you?
No, I had to order it.
Okay, yeah. I think that's the only caveat for me. Like I was saying, like if cost is I think this is this is a 4 out of 5 whiskey, like bar none. I think this is a buy. The only caveat would be just price. And the thing about Arran, and I'm going out on a limb saying this with no really previous knowledge, is that Arran is going to be one of these distilleries that flies under the radar a little bit. And man, I just love finding those diamonds in the rough, man. I had an experience with one earlier this year, which was Anok. I checked out, I think Malted in Montreal might have been the person who had Anok 18 as their whiskey of the year.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I hadn't had a lot of Anok. I was kind of getting to that part of my journey where I'm stepping outside my comfort zone and trying new stuff, especially indie bottlings. And I remember I found a bottle of the Anok 24 for $200, and I was like, 24-year-old whiskey.
Same here, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Arran seems like it might be one of those types of distilleries, man, where you can get the opportunity to find it at a price that's going to be just right in that,
sweet spot.
Let me just tell you something really quick about an experience I just had, which illuminates exactly what we're talking about. 3 months ago, I bought a bottle of Glengoyne 25. First one, it was at recommendation, highly recommended by some folks. It was $330, which again is man, I can count
crazy money. Yeah,
I don't spend that type. I've got a couple bottles that I was going to throw $300 on. I was thinking to myself oh, I should get another bottle of this, just to have as safekeeping. I go back to the exact same store. This is 2 months later, two and a half months later, $420.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. for the just like these prices change quick, y'all. Like they really do. And so when you see a distillery like again like a knock, like this Arran stuff, where like they're probably going to fly under the radar because they're establishing themselves. Like get in on those older whiskeys when you can. I mean, as Telex, as you were just mentioning, I mean, $120 for this is a freaking steal, man.
Yeah, even 150, I'm thinking it's a really good price. But once you get above 175, it's kind of like maybe
Right.
it's iffy.
Well, yeah.
But that's for any whiskey. Even like Macallan, I wouldn't spend a crazy amount on a 21, even though I know you have to get that brand. But with these other brands, like you get a good point, like the Enox, the Arrans. Another one that I think people should look for, it's not easy to find, is the Nakando. Knockando. There's a 15-year I've had on the side, and it has some really interesting notes with it. I remember it stood out as being better than your lesser known distilleries. So that's what I'm going to try to find is a Nakando somewhere.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That one I'll probably have to order, but I'm going to do my best to try to find it again because I had it as a sample when we were doing the all distillery tour. That was one that I remember thinking, you know what? If I ever get a bottle, I'm going to get that 15, unless I can find an 18 or 21. But
yeah, totally.
The problem is a lot of these distilleries don't even have 18s and 21s yet. Like Ben Romick is a good example of that. I can get their 15, but I think that's their highest aged whiskey right now, isn't it, for Ben Romick? Does anybody know?
I don't think I've seen anything older than that. They have so many NAS releases. They're another one that just changed their labeling, which I was like neutral on.
The Ben Romick ones, yeah. Mm-hmm. I like the old ones, and I'm assuming that this one I have back here. This I know you guys can barely see it, but the Imperial Proof 10-year.
Oh.
It's like a candle wax looking font and all that. Is
that
it's
got the flared, almost like a wine bottle.
Is that the old version? Is it?
Yeah, that's the old one. Now it's all like industrial looking. It's interesting. So I have a bottle of the 15 and the organic. I have tried to find that Imperial, but I've not been able to find it. But I have the 15 and the organic, and I'm looking forward to trying both of those.
Should I? You haven't opened the 15 yet?
I haven't. No.
I need to try that. So maybe that might be one we might have to look at together, if you don't mind. I
do not mind at all, my friend. And the other thing, while we're talking about samples in the future that we should review, for everybody in the chat, our friend Telex here is he is a Scotchman, and I respect that. But I am convinced that in every Scotchman lies a bourbon fan who just hasn't had a good bourbon yet. So what is the bourbon, or maybe in the case of Telex, because I know he likes a little bit of spice in his whiskey, what is a rye you would recommend for Telex? And if I have it, either a bourbon or a rye, I will include one or two, because Telex, I'm going to sneak a couple of those in, y'all. I'm going to do it because like I want to see the look on your face when you sip that corn whiskey and you're like, oh my god,
that's good.
And that's going to be a lot of fun. So if anybody's got recommendations, I can't guarantee that I'll have everything that you guys recommend, but in the off chance I do, for example, I have a bottle of the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, which I almost certainly am sending to him. But if there is anything else that you guys comes to mind that you think Telex, he's not even bourbon curious. He's bourbon skeptical. There might be a bourbon or two that we might be able to send him that will wow him a little bit.
One thing I'd love to get from my mom at some point, I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to find it, is she wants that Four Roses. I want to say it's the OESB. It's definitely the one that's called Sugar Daddy. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that particular release, but she really wants to get a bottle of that Sugar Daddy stuff. And I know it's probably crazy prices nowadays, but I'd be willing to pay it for old mom if I could find it. But I can't find the damn thing anywhere. I even called the Pennsylvania state board that had it like online They had this thing where they only hit release. This is good news for you, Malt. I'm not sure if you knew, but the state board for Pennsylvania only releases certain things online,
That's
and they
true.
don't release it even to their own stores. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So here's what I'll tell you about that. My guess is so Four Roses is interesting. My guess is that is the Sugar Daddy is a store pick, and so somebody put a label on it and called it that. So what Four Roses does is they have 10 different mash bill variations they do for their single barrel proof. They have 5 yeast strains and 2 corn malt strains that they vary. There's the high rye, a low rye, and then they have 5 different yeast strains. My guess is that is what's less important is the name Sugar Daddy. What's more important is the 4 letters. If it's OB or OE SV, makes a significant difference. Oh, he just popped it in here and it is called Sugar Daddy. Well, that shows you how much I know.
It was like a 2019 limited edition. That's like and I want to say it's OESB, but
it is a Sugar Daddy. I see. Oh, okay. So this is one of those yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to get rid of I know I can't find the 21-year-old OBSV recipe, but they have a 15-year-old OESK, a 15-year-old OESV, and an 11-year-old OESV. If I could find any of these, I would be like all over.
I mean, good luck finding them at 15 years, but if you can you'll be able to find them at 9 years probably.
Well, there's only a 21, a 15, a 15, and an 11. That's the only 4 of this one in this little.
Oh yeah, I mean this bottle in specific. Yeah, good luck.
Man,
this is a secondary market bottle that you're going to have to gamble for, or you're going to have to spend $500 on.
Oh man, for Mom,
you're not going to ever find this on a shelf anywhere.
For Mom, I would do it, but it's just a matter of finding the damn thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of, so there's some good recommendations coming in. Andrew Page saying send Telex the Elijah Craig barrel proof. Bourbon Bounty says the Booker's 2019-03 or Whistle Pig Boss Hog. Juan saying Pikesville. Trooper Henry, Russell's Reserve single barrel. Yeah, y'all got some great. Eagle Rare 17. Yeah, if I find that, I'll send a sample of that to almost everybody because everybody's got to try that.
Here's a good question, Daniel. I've actually done some Japanese whiskey in the past because they do spell whiskey the same way the Scots do. So I've actually done a couple. I've done the Hibiki 21, and I've done the Nika what is that? The Takamutsu. I can't even say it, but the one of the pure malt. 21s. I've done some in the past, so if you're interested in those, definitely look up the reviews. I haven't done a boatload, but I do like the Nika Coffee Green. I like the Nika single barrel. I mean, there's lots of good Japanese whiskey. What about you, Malt?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my again, Japanese whiskey is just so freaking expensive that honestly, it's been hard to get my hands on a lot. The ones that I've had, Nika or Hibiki Japanese Harmony, which I wouldn't recommend you go running out to buy. Nika from the barrel, yes, buy that if you find it.
Yeah.
Hakushu 12, really good but hard to find. What other Japanese ones have I had? You just mentioned one of them. Hibiki. I haven't had any of the Hibiki age statement stuff because it's just so hard to get your hands on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I wasn't really looking to have a sample sent to me, so that's the only reason why I had it. It was a sample.
Yeah, to the broader point, I mean, sampling Japanese whiskeys would be a lot of fun. The prices have gone so crazy. I mean,
they're way too crazy.
Yamazaki 12 is like $150.
It's insane for the. I mean, yeah, the Yamazaki 18 is like
$700.
I mean, that used to be like $100. I mean, come on. That's the reason why I dabbled in Japanese whiskey because I had a couple good samples, but I'm not going to shell out $300 or $400 for something when I can use that same money and get a Brooklady Black Arts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real talk, man. Yeah, I totally agree with you. But yeah, I mean, to the extent, one that I do have that you just mentioned that we could do a tasting of at some point is the Nika coffee grain.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
got a
one.
bottle of that's been languishing for a little while. I haven't drank it in a while, but the Nika from the barrel is one that I also have a couple bottles of. That was like, whiskey of the year from Whiskey Advocate, I think in 18. I mean, it's not the most amazing whiskey ever, but it's really good. And I think you might like it. I mean, again, it's with Japanese whiskey, my general vibe on it is it's like sweet floral.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Kind of like the way it works, right? And I know that like you're not a huge bourbon guy, not yet, anyways. We'll work on that.
No, but I do like. I've had the from the barrel, and I did like it. I had it at a bar down. I had it at a bar down. What was the one in Baltimore? It's really cool one. Have you been to Baltimore and been to that one that has the mirror? It's like a giant mirror in the back.
I haven't been to that spot. I've been to Baltimore, but I haven't been to that spot.
I'll have to look it up and send you the place, because you should go there if you get a chance. Stephen Connor's ears must be burning. We were just talking about you, Stephen. I think even though you're a cast strength drinker, I think you should pick up this for like 120, 130, Stephen, the Arran 21. Let Malt tell you about how good or bad he thought it was.
Yeah, no, we were just tasting that, and we used you as our foil of like, would this be a Stephen Connor whiskey? And my general sense was, because I think, as we were saying, like, I think at least in my sense, your palate's probably a little bit more advanced than mine at this point. But this whiskey, really good. Sherry initially, but boy, does it get more complex as it sits in the glass. 46% non-chill. It's a ride. It's got some sharpness. It's a bit more aggressive than you'd expect for a 21, but in a good way. I think this might be a whiskey you'd be really interested in, man.
Definitely, I would be surprised if you didn't get into that. And to answer the question, Bourbon Bounty was asking about if it was Inner Harbor or Power Plant area. This is called the Bookmakers Cocktail Club, and this is on East Cross Street. I don't know the exact area other than it looks like it's going to be South Baltimore. It's next to Illusions and Barflies, if you know where that is. It's basically not Locust Point, but it's like going toward that area. It's South Baltimore. It's called Bookmakers Cocktail Club. It's actually a really good place, but the best place to get scotch in Baltimore, no doubt, is Birds of a Feather, which is in Fells Point. This lady named Alice, she runs it, and it's pretty much all scotch, and she's got Kilhoman original cast strength. That tells you a lot right there. Yeah, she's got a lot of good scotch. If you're ever in Baltimore, Birds of a Feather and Bookmakers Cocktail Club are the first two places you should definitely hit, I'd say, on that one.
Speaking of Kilhoman at cast strength, that's another one that I might have to get you eventually. I have a Kilhoman Mocker Bay cast strength.
Ooh, hell yeah, dude! I'm all over. I'm the first one to raise my hand for that, because I do not have my own Moncure Bay bottle, and I've only sampled the regular. I've never had the cast strength version of it.
Oh, the cast strength is a gem, man. The cast strength is a freaking gem. One of the more impressive whiskeys I've had, I'll be honest. Even though it's, I don't know what, maybe 7 years old, man, that whiskey is good.
Looks like Steven's favorites are the Yamazaki Sherry Cask, the Hibiki 21, and the Hashuku. I've had the Hibiki 21, and I agree that is excellent, but I've never had the Yamazaki Sherry I never even had any Hakushu whiskeys at all. Is Hakushu like a well-known Japanese brand, do you know?
Yeah, I don't think they actually make I don't think they make it anymore, but gotcha. Yeah.
It's kind of like Ichibu. Ichibu is another good one. I have had a little bit here. There's a new one I've had recently that wasn't too bad. I think it was called like Kaiko or Keiko. It's like,
yeah, I've seen those.
Kaiko or something like that. I was at my buddy Tashi's place down in DC that runs that ramen bar, that Jinsu ramen bar, and
I know what
he had that Kako, whenever, however you say that one. But yeah, I tend to try to still stay focused on the Scotch. Steven's not a big fan of. I'm sorry, he is a big fan of the Arran's very underrated. I've loved some of their single casts. I thought about picking. Yeah, this new 21. I can't speak for the old 21, Steven, but this new one is pretty damn good. I have to say. I mean, it was a lot better than the Ben Reich 21, so that should tell you something. Best value is the Knob single. I guess he's talking about the Knob Creek.
Oh yeah, dude, you can't. Don't get me started on Knob Creek Single Barrel.
Very good, I take it.
Dude, Knob Creek Single Barrel is the best value in bourbon, period. And that is a large, big fucking period on the end. It is a $40 to $45 bottle. It is 60% ABV. It is aged 9 years, but it gets better. And it's the Jim Beam profile, which is like, in my opinion, delicious. A little bit got the weird, funky, nutty note. It delivers on all levels. The thing about Knob Creek Single Barrel is this. What's better beyond the fact that it's just a 9 year 60% is that their store selection program is so ubiquitous that like I have multiple 13, 14, 15 year single barrel store picks of Knob Creek that I got sub $50. That
wow.
Are stunners. You can even get them, in the 9-10 year range. Like you can't show me a better bourbon that you get sub $50. I don't think they exist. I'm not saying it's the best bourbon ever, but what I am saying is that the quality you get in one of these Knob Creek single barrels is unmatched by anything else. The only thing that I think even comes close is the Four Roses stuff, but the Four Roses single barrel regular release is $45. If you want to get anything more aged, it's $70-$80.
Is Knob Creek is that a Buffalo Trace? Is that a Buffalo Trace option, or is that outside that area?
Beam.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's the Jim Beam. They have their like, boutique brands. Knob Creek, Booker's, Baker's. Booker's is like the high end. Baker's is mid range. Knob Creek is like the small batch versions, right?
Gotcha.
But I'm telling you, Knob Creek single barrel, dude. You can't go to the store tomorrow. You will find a 9-year-old 60%.
I'm not going anywhere.
90% or 9 years 60% ABV. It'll be $43.
Wow, I'll look online though, just to humor. It looks like Trooper likes the Arran cast strength. I haven't. Is that the new one, Trooper? Is that the new bottle, like this kind of like look, or is it like an older one? I think that's a new one though, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just curious. No, it's not a bourbon show, Steven. Sorry. we just chat bourbon every once in a while. It's just this, we chat a little bit of a bourbon, a little bit of Japanese. We kind of cover all the bases pretty much.
Yeah, man, it's a whiskey show.
Yeah, but we do try to keep it to the Scotch when we can. That's not a big deal, but I do think that you would be. I got it for like 120 up to 150. You could probably find this, and I think it's definitely a good buy, Steven. Even for your picky palate, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, well, I would love to hear if we ever get the opportunity to get him, or if he gets a bottle of it, or get the opportunity to try it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, Steven. Yeah, I totally agree, Juan. Totally, it's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's funny because I grew up around Knob Creek. It's just so weird to hear that as a whiskey choice, because it's like when you're 5 and you're booming your voice through the echo of the caverns around there, and then like 20, 30 years later there's Knob Creek whiskey. It's just so weird.
Yeah. I mean, like, I agree with probably most people. Like, bourbon is really good at, like, there's like the range is of complexity is a little bit more limited. I just think that's a fact. I'm not saying it makes it good or bad. A really good bourbon's a really good bourbon, but like Scotch, you just have so much variety. Like, there's so many different things you can try.
When we were talking about like distilleries that we were kind of eager to try more stuff. I mentioned the Nakando as mine. Do you have one that I know you're already been into the Enoch and now the Arran? Is there anything that you're like, I'm kind of interested in see what these guys have to offer that you haven't tried before? Or?
Oh man, I mean that's a huge question. There's so many distilleries. Again, like I think I'm probably a little bit. I think you've probably had more experience with more distilleries than I have. I mean, I've been in the Scotch for I don't know 4.5 years probably, so I've had a decent amount. But there's a lot of distilleries that for example, I have never had a Glenkinchie. Not that I should, but I've never had a Glenkinchie. Never had Leg. Never had. I could probably go down the list of distilleries that I've not touched. I've never had the Knock and Do, as you mentioned. There's a few others, that I can think of off the top of my head that I haven't tried. But yeah, there's a bunch, man. Definitely a bunch.
With the Glenkinchie, the only bottle I've ever, one of the first ones I bought, actually, my first review ever, believe it or not, was on Glenkinchie 12, which is funny.
Okay. Have you had the Distiller's Edition by chance?
That's the one I would recommend because the 12 is really just a basic floral Highlandish kind of, even though it's a lowland, it tastes like a basic Highland, not as good as a Dalwhinnie kind of thing. So if I was going to get a Glenkinchie now, I would probably just start with the Distiller's Edition and hope that it's a better bottle than a 12 at this point. But have you tried an Elberfeldy before? Have you had them?
Yes, I've had the 12, but I've seen that they've been putting out a whole bunch of stuff that seems at really good prices, and so I'm like considering it. They have like a 16-year-old now. They have a 23.
Well, I'll tell you what, since we're going in maybe on bottles in the future, I have done the basic 16, and it's an okay if you like a honey bomb. It's very much a huge honey bomb, but they do have this series called the Exceptional Cask series.
That's what it is. Yeah,
they have like an 18-year-old. I'm thinking and it's extremely affordable, even still at an 18 Exceptional Cask. I think if you and I went in on a bottle of something like that, that would be a fun one to maybe do. I'm sure you've had Abelauer before. Yeah.
Aberlour is probably one of the whiskeys I would define as probably the most disappointing whiskey out there.
Yeah, it's like the meh. It's the whiskey distillers. The Abinant's got some good batches.
Never had the Abinant.
Other than that, yeah.
I had the 12, 18. And I thought the 12 was like pedestrian compared to other 12 sherries when I think obviously Glendronach, but like even Glenfarclas.
Yeah. You got to go up to like the 18 or the Abinant to get a dude.
I bought a bottle of 16 and I was like, oh man, 16-year-old Aberlour, this is going to be delicious. It literally tasted like, for me, it was so light. It was like a rosé. It wasn't very complex. It was almost like drinking a rosé. It was like a $85, $90 bottle. It was 40%. It's colored beyond recognition, as you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
40%. I was just like, this was in the earlier days. I mean, this was in the days where I was like, ooh, Dalmore 12, right? Like, I was like, Aberlour 16, I got to get this.
Yeah.
That was a real bummer. I haven't touched an Aberlour since then. I do want to try the Abunat. I know there's a lot of batch variation, but I want to try the Abunat.
If you get like a late 50s, early 60s number, then you're probably going to be good. But if it's anything other than that, I would probably wait it out or get the 18. The 18 is not bad, but it is awfully expensive for an 18-year-old whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, what about Auchentoshan? Do you have any favorite Auchentoshans that you like?
That's another one that I've had very limited exposure to, probably because it just looks bad.
Yeah.
Well, I've had the American Oak, which I thought was not very interesting.
That was okay. I gave it like a 3 out of 5 or something.
The 12 and the American Oak. That's all I've had.
Yeah, I thought they were I thought they were pretty much average 12-year-old. I gave them like a 3 out of 5. Nothing special, but nothing horrible. Kind of like in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
One thing on my radar, I'll get for both of us. I'm going to try my best to find the 21-year and just pick it up and see what we get out of that one.
Auchentoshan?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get an Auchentoshan 21 if I can find it. I think I've got a good lead on a bottle of that. I'm not going to go into the really obscure ones, but I'm just kind of touching. You've had Ben Nevis before, right?
I have not, but I have a bottle of the Ben Nevis 10, so I
Oh,
will
okay, good.
soon.
Yeah, we'll have to do that one maybe because I have had that and I like it. I think you'll like it. The only thing that's weird about Ben Nevis is it definitely is not. They're not afraid of having a little sulfur, a little funkiness to their thing. But
Right.
if you're done with Springbank 10, I think you'll like the Ben Nevis 10 kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's that one, and I think aren't there like a decent amount of like independent bottlings of Ben Nevis? I've
Oh
not really
yeah.
found any, but
Oh yeah, there's a boatload more of the independents than there is the regular distillery has a 10, they have a 15, and I think they even have like an older one that's all distillery, but they don't have like a lot of different variations. They just have like 3 offerings, but there are a boatload of the independent offerings. And the interesting thing is, guess who owns Ben Nevis of all companies? Guess who owns them? You'll never guess, probably. It's Nika, the Japanese distillery.
really?
Yeah, Nika owns them. Isn't that funny?
Do you know what other Scotch distilleries they own?
Um, I don't
Maybe
off
just
the
Ben
top.
Nevis.
I don't off the top of my head, but I think I'm looking real fast through my little list. That's the only major distillery they own of all of them is Ben Nevis. I have like a cheat sheet where I have all
Well,
the.
major is putting it pretty charitably.
Well, out of 103 distilleries that are active, they're the only one that they own. We'll put it that way.
Really?
Yeah, because I have a nice little cheat sheet where, of course, most of these are owned by Diageo or Beam Suntory
Yeah.
or Pernod Ricard
Yeah.
or Thai Bev even. Those are like the big 4 or 5 LVMH. But there's a few like independents and one-offs, but most of them are either Diageo, LVMH, Edrington is another one.
Yeah, they're the ones that own Anok and Baldler, if I'm not mistaken.
That's Thai Bev.
That's Tybev, yeah.
Edrington is the ones that
The
own.
big fear is that they're going to do to Anok what they did to Baldler.
That's what I'm afraid of, man. That's what I'm thinking. If you find the 24, the 18, I would buy those bottles all freaking day long because I have a bad feeling that we're not going to see them very much more often.
Speaking of Baldler, I mean, I know I'm going to send you that 25-year-old Baldler, but I might have a line on a cast strength 13-year-old Baldler.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is it an independent, I take it?
It's a store pick from a guy in DC.
Oh, wow.
Of all those things. If I get my hands on it, I will definitely send you a sample.
Is it Potomac Wine and Spirits or?
No, it is.
Or Schneider's maybe? Or
no, Prav owns it. What is the name of the store? It's over on DuPont Wine and Spirits.
Oh, okay. I think I know who you're talking. I don't know the people, but I think I know where you're talking about.
It's DuPont Circle Wine and Spirits.
I've never been over there. Do they have a good selection?
They have a huge selection. I mean, it's DC prices, but a huge selection.
I'm gonna have to go look.
I went and did a tasting with him when I lived in the district. My brother, he has a whole Facebook page thing where he does a bunch of pick giveaways and all this. He has. I tried the Ardbeg drum there last year. He had me sample this Baldler, which he now has bottled up. He does a bunch of like whiskey picks or bourbon picks rather. But
you sampled this one already?
Yeah, and it was fantastic.
Was it good? Year. Oh man,
dude, cast strength Baldler. I mean, we're talking like the vintage box, the vintage presentation.
Oh man,
you know,
when it was like a fruit bomb.
Dude, it's 49.2%. It was like. It's all ex-bourbon, which I think most of the Baldler stuff is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. It was delicious.
Was it fruit in your face?
You know, it was a lot of the, like, apple cinnamon kind of thing.
I love it, man. I love Baldler old stuff, at least.
Baldler old stuff is so good.
I
Yeah,
still have yet to. Has anybody tried any of their new stuff? I haven't tried any of it.
I've heard decidedly mixed reviews on it, which is so disappointing because I was bummed when they like the thing I really like attracted me to Ballblair when I didn't know a lot about bourbon or about a lot about Scotch was the fact that like they had this cool presentation. They do these vintage releases, and now they're just doing the standard age statement, blah 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 stuff.
Yeah, I like the sunset like on the back of
Oh
the
yeah, man!
visual. They had. I mean, with the vintage years, you could figure out what the age statement was. That's why I'm not sure why they completely revamped everything, unless they ran out of all the good juice, maybe.
Yeah, man. As part of the box of samples I'm going to give you to taste, you will be getting.
Oh, the 90. I love the 99. I adore it. I've had it twice, and I love it. I never had the 90, but I've heard great things about it. Oh my god, that color is to die for, dude.
Yep, it's natural. This was bottled in 16, so it's 26 years old. Non-chill, natural color, 46%.
Oh lordy, that's
every box
bottle.
Yeah, I'm really excited for you to get this, man. I'll tell you, when I found these this was last year, well, early last year, late 18, they were 150 a pop.
Yeah.
And now it's like they're so hard to get.
Crazy money. Yeah.
Luckily, I had this actually at a place in DC.
Wow.
It's the ramen place. God damn, I can't remember. It's in Chinatown. Fuck, if I could remember the name of it. They have another restaurant upstairs, and like you can go hang out there while you're waiting to get in because the ramen place is always in so much demand.
Wow.
And they had it sitting there, and I was just talking to the bartender. You know, this is why you always talk to your bartenders, because they're like, I was like, "Is that a Ballblair?" He's like, "Yeah, we bought a bunch of bottles. Nobody ever drinks it. You want some for free?" Like,
fuck yeah!
$5, 25-year-old Ballblair, and I was like,
"Holy shit! I gotta go back to DC."
Yeah, no, I was like, "This is." Oh, it's Daikaya. Daikaya is the ramen.
Oh, Daikaya has. I go to Absolute Thai that's right around the corner from that.
Yeah,
Absolute Thai is like my normal lunchtime hangout, and I've. You remember that Mike Isabella that used to own Graffitio around the corner? That was that Top Chef guy.
But I know what place you're talking about. Yeah,
there was this guy. Just for the viewers out there, Top Chef is one of these shows that had all the chefy people battling each other for the Top Chef prize, and one of the winners or one of the ones that got really far along was Mike Isabella, and he opened up some restaurants in DC. And one of them was called Graffitio, and he got in trouble for like sexual harassment and all this crazy stuff, and he had to close.
Boy, really?
It was bad. Yeah, it was hardcore bad. And right next door to him is that Daikaya. It was right, literally next door, and I always pass by the Daika. I can't even say it. Daikaya place to get to Graffitios and to the Absolute Thai place around the corner, but I never even went inside that place, man.
Dude,
I could have went inside.
If you're into ramen, I don't know if there's a better place in DC except maybe Tokyo Underground.
Oh wow!
Good luck getting into Tokyo Underground. Daikaya, you're looking at an hour wait pretty much at any time. But here's the deal:
I would just go when they open for lunch, man.
They have an upstairs restaurant, and in the upstairs restaurant, they got a really nice bar, and you can hang out there. And that's where I had the Ballblair. And I'll just say this. I don't know how much you're into ramen, but like it's a euphoric experience. It's one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. Daikaya is on point. Get the spice bomb. It's freaking amazing. Amazing ramen. I mean, DC food scene is incredible for the most part. That place, but you just go upstairs. They got a bar up there, ton of Japanese whiskey, ton of like
I'm going, dude.
The orders because everybody going to Daikaya is like, give me an appletini, and I'm up there like, yo, what's up with that Ballblair right there?
I'm gonna go in with 2 masks tomorrow, dude.
Yeah, if you're ever in DC, check out Daikaya.
I'm gonna go tomorrow with 2 masks.
If you think you know what ramen is, you don't until you've been to Daikaya because it's euphoric. But yeah, while you're waiting, head upstairs. I can't remember the name of the restaurant upstairs, but it's literally just right up the stairs from Daikaya, and they have an incredible whiskey bar.
Oh man, I'm glad you told me because I never would. I mean, the sad thing is, I've been around that whole area for like 10 years now, and I've never
Have you ever
gone
been in the
there.
Jackpot, the basement bar over there, the Jackpot? Oh man, that's one of
Uh,
my favorite dive bar in DC.
Jackpot. I'll have to look that up too.
They
Jeez, man.
don't got much for whiskey, but like it's a great dive bar.
Is it right around Verizon Center right there?
It's right around the corner from
Damn.
Dracula. What is that? 4th Street? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. Yeah, dude, check out the Jackpot.
We
Great
gotta go.
Jackpot.
We gotta go down together sometime when this COVID shit's over and just kind of scout the areas.
Man, I lived in DC for 3 years and like I didn't explore it as much as I wanted to, but there's definitely a bunch of spots I'd love to go hang out at. Yeah, dude. If you want to just go get like the thing about Daikaya or Jackpot that's funny is like they give you the free popcorn and they just play indie rock all day. So it's just freaking great. It's like the wall like is like my wheelhouse, man. It's a basement, dingy kind of dive bar in the middle of center of the city, dude. Yeah, it's amazing. And Andrew Page just mentioned that he had amazing Ethiopian food in DC. Let me just say,
oh yeah,
my girlfriend is Ethiopian, and let me tell you, when I lived in DC, she took me to we went to 2 spots. Boy, if I could remember the name of it, I'll let you know.
Does she speak Tigrinya or Amharic?
What's that?
Does she speak Amharic or Tigrinya? Do you know?
She does speak Amharic. Yeah, I mean,
cool.
Not as well as her parents, but she understands Amharic. Yeah, she was like, look, man, the Ethiopian scene in DC is legit, and she was like, this place, they know what's up. I'll have to look up the name of the place.
I've been to a couple places. I bet you it's the one. I had a friend when I used to work at the National and Dulles airports. I had a friend that was Ethiopian, and she was in this like big pageant that they had at this place. It was almost like they had like their own runway, and it was like in a club. It started with an A, like it wasn't Addis Ababa, but it was something like that. And it was so good. I bet it was the same damn place, dude.
Yeah, I have to look it up, man. I can't remember.
Was it Bravo?
No. It was, oh man.
Do you know what I'm talking about when I say Bravo, though?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it's the one that she was at was Bravo. That's a really good Ethiopian place.
I'm looking it up right now because I got to remember the name of this. Dude, the Ethiopian food scene in DC it's called Share.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
It's in like, it's in Shaw. Oh my God. It's good.
That's cool, man.
Mind blowing.
Ethiopian women are some of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. It's insane.
She's a good one, man. And you know, her like she's exposed me to so much good Ethiopian food. I mean, I'm in Philly now where like we go out.
Give you the cool stuff where you eat with your the spongy stuff you eat with your hands and stuff. That stuff is cool.
Man. Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, dude, check that place out if you're ever in that area. It is incredibly good Ethiopian food. Daniel just asked if either of us have been to Jack Rose. Yes.
I have not yet. I need to get my ass down there, but we've been talking about it. As soon as this whole COVID shit happened, we were talking about going, and I never could get my ass down there.
Dude, Daniel, it's funny you bring this up. So Telex and I met when we were like, we both lived in DC. And we never got to hang out in person, but we were definitely like swapping whiskey, talking whiskey, all this. Jack Rose, I've been like 3 times. My recommendation is this. First of all, probably one of the best whiskey bars you'll ever go to in your life. They have more stuff than you can imagine.
They have the Ardbeg Arran grain, and that stuff is hard to find.
The guy, oh my God.
I'm sorry, the Arran Bashed. That's the one that they have that I couldn't find anywhere.
I mean, if you're going to go there, bring $200 because you're going to want to sample so much stuff. Literally,
minimum.
The menu they give you for their whiskey, and I am not embellishing. It's this thick. It's like pages of just like anything you want. Probably the best whiskey bar in the country, if not damn close. And they do a ton of tasting. So I'm part of the Philadelphia Whiskey Society. And right when COVID happened, we were supposed to bust down to do a private tasting in the basement at Jack Rose.
Man.
Unfortunately, didn't work out. But yeah, if you are ever in the District of Columbia, I implore you, put a little bit of extra money on that debit card, put $250 in your pocket. You go to Jack Rose, you are going to have exposure to the more rare scotches and bourbons than you will ever find anywhere. It is a incredible experience. I don't know that there's a better whiskey bar in the country. It's just expensive, but I mean, we are talking like Willet releases that you've never heard of. We're talking Springbanks that are like, 28-year single casks that like you didn't even know existed. It's ridiculous. Literally, you walk in there and it from ceiling to floor, it is nothing but whiskeys all around the entire restaurant. They have a second floor patio. They'll bring you up whatever you want that you order from the freaking Bible of whiskey that they have. Dude, I mean, you could spend $1,000 in there so easily.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's ridiculous. But it's a natural treasure. It's a national treasure for sure.
Just going back to the list before we have to jet, have you ever had a Tullibardine that you liked or didn't like, or have you tried that distillery at all, Tullibardine?
I've not had any Tullibardine.
The only one I'm trying to remember, I had a sample of like a basic. I'm trying to remember if it was like an age statement or if it was an NAS. The Murray was one of my favorites. The first one was different. The second one was the bottle I bought, and it was one of these like Chateau de Neuf specialized wine cask deals. I can't even pronounce it right, but it's a French red wine cask, and it's actually pretty good. But I wanted to try one of their 20 or 25-year-olds, which are supposedly reasonably priced. So I'll have to try it out. Steven says he wants to go back to Jack Rose, so we'll have to have a little meetup. Possibly.
Yeah, man. Dude, I mean, especially for someone like Steven who's got such an extensive, incredible collection. Like Jack Rose is right in your wheelhouse. But like,
oh yeah,
and I mean this like legit for anybody who's like, you just want to go try things that you never would be able to try. Jack Rose, I don't think there's probably many whiskey bars in the country that has the selection they have. And I'm not embellishing. Like their selection is ridiculous.
Do you do cigars too?
Not really. I mean, I'm interested, but I haven't, I got off the cigarettes last year. Now I just vape. So.
I got you. No, I hear you.
Maybe we'll get back to it. But
I usually don't, but I will go and have one on the side kind of thing. If, there's a place called Shelley's Back Room in DC. Have you ever been to that place?
I have not.
It's a cigar, more of like a cigar type of bar, but they have a really good menu when it comes to Scotch from what I remember as well. Looking around, let me see if I can find it again. But they that's one place that I might try. But does Jack Rose allow any cigar smoke, or is it?
So funny thing you mentioned that they do, because their upstairs patio is technically outdoors, even though it's not. So like you literally like it has enough of a fake roof, so you can sit up there. And so if you don't sit down in the whiskey bar itself and you sit upstairs, which is like more of a outdoor sports bar, I mean, the types that are going to be in a place like this, right? Like you've been, DC, it's Adams Morgan. It's the Oxford shirts, etc. But you can sit there and smoke. And they'll bring up your whiskey samples from downstairs. They give you the water dropper. It's all
perfect,
man.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than an Ugadal and a cigar, man.
Dude, you are not lying.
You know that you would like that one.
A steak and an Ugadal. I remember when I made a, and I'm not much of a meat eater, and I was like, I made a filet mignon at home, grilled it, and I had an Ugadal with it. It was one of the most euphoric experiences I ever had with food and whiskey. It was unbelievable.
I can imagine, because that.
Well, I mean, Ugadal in general. Let's not Ugadal is just the best.
Just drink that drink it like water, man. That stuff is awesome.
So good, man. It's so good. But yeah, anybody, like I said, anybody that ever is in DC, plan to spend a little more than you want, but you could even do it on a budget. It's an experience, man. It's an experience like no other. Like Jack Rose is unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm looking forward big time to this COVID nightmare going away, so we can actually get out and do some things like that. Is
That's
this
real, man.
isn't it weird how you just don't know what you're missing until it's just taken away from you? It's now I'm feeling like, wow, I should have gone to all these places and done all these things when I had a chance. Because now that I'm locked up, I don't have any option to do it. I mean, I could, but I'd be asking for it just to walk, even with a mask. I don't even want to go inside anywhere, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
man. I totally agree with you, man. I totally agree. It's you forget, like we take so much for granted, especially in this country. Like we don't realize how much we have sometimes, and it happens to the best of us. I mean, I'm totally with you on that. Like, man, I would love to just go have a goddamn beer.
Oh yeah, just go to
Bar
the
and have a damn beer.
Scotch and Sniff is
I
DC
follow them on
based.
YouTube. I follow them on YouTube, but I've never met them. I had left DC right when I learned about them, so no, I haven't met them.
Wasn't that the same as two guys that wasn't there a thing where there were two guys and one of them had a beef or something happened and they stopped doing it for a while and is this the same group or is it a different group or do you
I
know?
don't remember. I don't know if they had a beef. I know it's two guys in DC that review whiskeys. I'm not sure. I haven't watched enough of their videos to know if there was some like
Okay.
tumultuous things going on.
This
But
was like 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, it was a while back. I remember I've heard the name. I definitely did not know they were DC based, or I would have sought them out and be like, hey, let's meet
yeah,
up.
check out their channel, man. They're definitely DC based.
Have you haven't met any of the guys or anything? Okay.
No, I had just started doing my stuff when I left there, and like I never got the chance to reach out. I was too timid, but like they're cool. Like their whiskey channel is really fun.
Okay.
Definitely worth checking out.
Like I've heard the name. I'm not familiar with it, like the reviews, but I'll definitely check them out on the side. Looks like they're brothers. It was work related deal where they went out to
Oh,
leave, but they were back together again. Oh, okay. Well, I'll definitely check them out because I am. This is a time to do your recon and try to figure out who do you want to like try to maybe get a meeting with and that kind of thing.
yeah,
So I think I'll reach out and maybe just say, hey, Malt and I are ex DC natives. We love to shoot the shit sometime and maybe
totally, man.
talk
Yeah,
some drams or something. So that'd be kind of cool to just to see what's going on. I have to go back and review it. If they're back together again, it sounds like they're doing some new stuff.
yeah, definitely, man. And let me know how that goes. That would be cool. Maybe they'd want to
Natural light.
come
Just
on
came up
and
with this.
talk whiskey one of these days.
Is
I mean,
this
they definitely, if anybody, will have more insight on Jack Rose than even we do.
maybe is this BS? Natural Light came out with a Scotch. What? That can't be right, can it?
Oh God.
That was my first initial reaction. Was like, well, I remember Natural Light was the thing I drunk when I was like in high school, and I shouldn't have been drinking. Kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I want to be skeptical, but I mean,
But
if it's Johnny Walker Red level,
before,
maybe worth checking out.
before I drank Guinness and before I got into more craft beers, yeah, Natural Light and Milwaukee's Best was like the way to go back in the day. But a Scotch from Natural Light, that would be strange. Trooper, you have to tell us what the hell that's about because I'm in utter disbelief. No.
Totally not.
Oh man, I think we better wrap this up.
Yeah, no, we're hitting about the 11 hour, man. Yeah, it's it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to do our first joint tasting, and like we were saying earlier in the show, Telex and I are getting each other some samples in hand. Where each week we're going to taste and even maybe review.
Of the things that you see, what would you like to see next time, Malt? What have you?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because I'm up for
So,
anything. We can
well,
go.
just to recap for everybody, in case you missed it earlier. So Telex has sent me the Arran 21, which we reviewed tonight, the Elisa Bay 1.2 Sweet Smoke, the Ardbeg Blazda, and the Ardbeg Stellar Release Supernova 2008. I have sent him, well, I will be sending him, I should be totally clear on this. I am sending him the Ball Blair 25-year-old 1990 second release, the Balvenie single barrel first fill bourbon 12-year-old, the Lafroig Highgrove independent bottling single cask 46%, and the Port Charlotte MRC 01. So yeah, maybe next week, why don't we check out that? Well, if my samples show up on time, which they should, why don't we do the Ball Blair 90?
Sure. Wow.
If they don't show up on time for some strange reason, why don't we jump into the Ardbeg Supernova?
Oh wow, okay. That the stellar release from 2008. That thing is like ancient and great.
Let's go big, man. Let's go big.
And it was a little joke from Trooper that it was the Natural Light Scotch that just came out was the Lafroig Select. he deserves a snare crash rim shot.
Well done. Yeah, totally, man. Totally.
Oh my god, man, that's horrible.
All right, y'all. Well,
crazy.
It's been a lot of fun, man. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out. If you've yet to subscribe to Telex the Whiskey Tech, subscribe to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews if you are into such things. And with that,
you know what sucks? This is half gone already, dude.
Wow. It's a testament to the whiskey that we got the opportunity to talk about tonight. I don't know what it is.
I've been sucking it down.
Arran 21.
I've been sucking it down. This stuff is good, man. I have to say. I mean, I don't think this is going to last very long. Still good?
Still good, man.
Well, Salam Cheval, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to be doing possibly either, like you said, the Ball Blair 1990 or the Supernova 2008 next. Is it 2008 or 2009? Whatever the stellar first release is what we might do next week. So stay tuned. See you later, man.
Stay well, man. Catch you next week.
See ya.